Hello. In this video, we are going to talk about the hiding spots of Desert Village near hider spawn. So basically, we'll talk about everything surrounding the pyramid, right? Starting with the pyramid itself, right? This is basically where the hiders spawn, basically just inside this pyramid. So obviously, if there's any blocks in this room at all, they're fake. Sometimes you'll even see flower pots on the edge of this right here. Those are also fake, right? But in this video, we're talking about all the hiding spots surrounding the pyramid, right? So we'll start with what's basically right next to it. We have these bookshelves stacked. Basically, if you ever see 3 bookshelves in a row like this, or like this, it's fake. That's typically what you see, but sometimes you'll even see 2, 2, 2. Notice it's 2 in a row, 2 in a row, 2 in a row. That's how you know that this is a fake bookshelf. Or if you see a bookshelf that goes way too high up like this, that would also be fake. For these melon farms, you just got to know the numbers. There's 4 melons here and 5 melons here. That's all you really have to know in order to identify a fake melon. Right? So now, right, I'm going to head over here. For these hay bales, right, you'll see these as you're approaching a hider spawn as well. Right? These hay bales aren't even oriented correctly. So if you see one that is oriented correctly, no matter where it is, right, it's going to be a fake hay bale. Right, next we're going to go to this building. Sometimes when you're approaching a hider spawn, you'll find hiders on top of this building. Right, and as for, let's say, the cakes, the cakes form the letter Y. So it turns out many times you'll actually find the letter Y in Desert Village. So in this case, for the cakes, we have the letter Y. So any modification of the letter Y, right, like this, maybe square cakes, right, or a cake on this side would be fake. For the flower pots, we have 2 flower pots, so if you see 3, for instance, like this, it's fake. Anywhere where you see 3, it's fake. For the flower pots here. For the cauldrons, many times you find hiders inside the cauldrons. This is something you should obviously be familiar with. I had to say that, I felt great to say. But if you ever see another cauldron like in front of it like that, or a cauldron to the side of it like that, that would be fake. That's basically it for the top of this building. For the bottom, you actually many times find hiders inside the building. The most typical spot is to find a hider in this slot right here. So something like that is fake, right? You find a flower pot on top of this table, it's fake. Or a flower pot behind the table, it's also fake. Many times you'll even have a cake specifically in this spot instead of a flower pot. So that's basically it. Notice how you actually have chickens over here. Well, they tend to roam around a lot. There should be a total of 4 chickens. But in the beginning of the game, when you're approaching hider spawn, it's pretty easy to count them, so pretty easy to tell whether or not there's a fake one. Right? Oh, by the way, for the actual outline of the building, there's only 1 flower pot. So if you see anything else, it's fake. So like a flower pot over here, right behind the building, it's fake. Should be no blocks surrounding the building besides this flower pot. That's basically it for this building. So next we'll head over here, right, for this anvil stack, right? You literally are directly encountering this anvil stack as you're coming from hunter spawn. So for the anvil stack, right, this is probably the most important spot to know about for the anvil stack. Notice how it makes the stack symmetrical diagonally, so this would be fake. Also, if there's an anvil right here, it's 3 anvils in a row, so it's fake. Notice how on the top of the anvil stack there's 2 sticking out, so if you see, it's no longer 2 sticking out like that, it's only 1 sticking out. There's an anvil right here, or right here, it would be fake. That's basically it for the anvil stack, right? Next, notice how we have these cakes. Basically, it's a total of 2 cakes. You have a cake on either side, like right here or right here, it's fake. Whenever you have 3 cakes right here, it's fake. Right, for this hay bale stack, right, this is the most typical spot to find a hay bale. So if you find a hay bale right here, it's fake. Right, we have a hay bale like on the side of it like this. This would be fake. You see 2 hay bales on top of the stack, it's fake. Right, so that's basically it for that. Right, I'm going to go over this cauldrons and the cakes over here in another video. Basically, the last block pile over here, we have this TNT stack to go over. Right, you see 2 TNTs in a row like this, it's fake. 2 TNTs in a row on top of the stack, it's fake. 2 TNTs in a row right here, it's fake. two TNTs in a row right here, it's fake. Basically, you're just looking for two TNTs in a row. Right? The only other spot you might see is a TNT right here, where it's not two in a row. Basically, you just got to memorize the spot as well. So this would be fake. That's basically it for the TNT stack. And that's basically it for this stack. I like saying that. Okay, now I got the bookshelf stack. For the bookshelf stack, basically, the most common thing to see for the bookshelf stack is basically if a bookshelf is directly touching another bookshelf on the same layer. So basically, notice on the first layer, there's a bookshelf hiding right here. It's directly touching this bookshelf. So it's basically adjacent to it, right? Not diagonal, but literally directly touching this bookshelf and this bookshelf. So whenever you see something like that, that's how you know that there's a fake bookshelf, right? You typically never see bookshelves hiding like this, where it's like this. But through experience, it's pretty easy to identify that this is fake, right? So again, pretty easy to identify with experience that something like this is fake. But it typically never happens. It's typically going to be a bookshelf directly touching another bookshelf. The only other thing you might see is two bookshelves on top of the stack. For instance, notice how there's two overall on top of the stack. That's how you know that that's fake. After the bookshelf stack, we have the hay bale stack. This is the last stack we got to go over for this video. Actually, no, it is. No, it's not. That's everything surrounding the building. After we talk about this hay bale stack, the last thing we'll talk about is the top of the pyramid itself. For the hay bale stack, it's basically 5 total hay bales, right? You can kind of see 3 on top, and then 2 in a row here. Pretty easy to memorize. Right? The most typical thing to see is actually a hay bale leaning up against the edge of the map, like a hay bale right here, or a hay bale right here. Sometimes you'll even have flower pots over here, so keep in mind that as well. Most common thing. But you might also see like a square of hay bales like this, it's fake. Square, it's fake. Or 2 in a row like this. That's basically it for the hay bales. Right? For the pyramid itself, the top of the pyramid. Oh, we talked about this bookshelf stack at the beginning of the video. But we also have this cauldron stack, which looks really similar to it. It's 2, 2. Right? Again, if you see 3 in a row, it's fake. So 3 in a row. Right? But the other thing you might see is if it's squared off. Like if it's squared off right here, it's fake. Or squared off right here, it's fake. Right. For the top of the pyramid, we have a cake and a flower pot. So if you ever see 2 cakes or 2 flower pots, no matter where they are, one of them has to be fake because there should only be 1 each. Same thing for the anvil, there should only be 1 anvil up here. So if you see another anvil, like for instance at another corner like this, that means it's fake. There is a singular flower pot and a singular cake right here. Right? Maybe you should just know that so you don't hit them to check if they're fake. They are real, just so you know. And that's basically it for everything surrounding hider spawn. Right? The only other thing I would mention is that you do have some random flower pots lying around, but typically hiders don't hide as random flower pots, like literally laying around like this. Through experience, you can identify fake ones, because you'll just be like, oh, I passed by it each time. It's, like, for instance, a flower pot right here. I don't normally see that, right? So that's how you know it's fake. It's just through experience, passing by through it many times. But hiders typically don't hide as random flower pots lying on the ground. Happens maybe once in a blue moon. Because the theory is that, well, ideal hiders typically don't like to feel like they're vulnerable. And naturally, it kind of makes sense. If you're hiding like this, it feels like you're out in the open. And ideal hiders typically don't like to do that. Which is what years and years of research has suggested. No, I'm just kidding. I like saying that. But this is basically everything for this video. We've talked about basically everything surrounding the hider spawn building. And that's